Now, before we begin, I only have one announcement, and that announcement is that Food for Thought will continue next year in 2025. If you're here today, I handed out some some schedules for next year. If you're online, don't worry, we'll be announcing it soon, and you can always come by and get your schedule if you really want one. But what I will go ahead and tell you is that our very first program is going to be on Thursday, January 16th, here in the Farley and online. It'll be John Sledge presenting his new book, Mobile. Can't believe I did it, y'all. I swear I am from Alabama. I just got all wrapped up in reading instead of saying things. Mobile and Havana, sisters across the Gulf. I would like to thank the Alabama Humanities Alliance for making Food for Thought 2024 possible through their grant system, and the Friends of the Alabama Archives for sponsoring our programs here at the Archives. Today, I'm excited to welcome a longtime friend of the Archives, Wanda Battle. She's the founder and CEO of Legendary Tours, and she is no stranger to Montgomery's international significance. Born during the 1956 Montgomery bus boycott, she grew up in a community that worked together for the good of its people. Her passion is collaborating with others in her community to make life a better place for the next generation through the art of storytelling. Battle is a graduate of Spelman College and holds a BA in music, specializing in voice and performance. Please join me in welcoming Wanda Battle.
And I have such a passion for what I do as a tour guide here in the city and for the city. And so I'm just honored to have you come and to just share some information with you today. But those who know me well know I sing on every tour. I sing whenever I speak. So if you will, join me in singing a Christmas song. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Everybody. Well, I'm going to try to do my best. I'm not very technical, but he gave me a few instructions on how to use. Yes, sir. Oh, it's muted? Oh, see, I told you. Well, as these, there I am. I'll be sure not to speak too loud. Can everybody hear me? Doc, can you hear me well? Okay, that was the measure right there. With that being said, everybody, I want to just say that, as Alex said, I was born here in Montgomery. I'm a native. I was born on the west side of Montgomery, and in 1968, when Dr. King was killed, a federal program, Urban Renewal, came through our community to bring in the I-65-85 interstates, and they intentionally came through our community and took away our homes, businesses, and scattered us. And so I watched our community, and I watched my parents, my mother, really embrace, is there something I need to do to adjust this? But I just want to say that the work that I do, I'm doing it as a tribute to all of those who trained us, who protected us, who instructed and inspired us. And so when we left Montgomery in 1968, because my mother said, I'm not moving to any of those places you've created, I had no idea when I waved to Montgomery goodbye that I'd be back someday. Well, guess what? I'm happy to be back. Montgomery is fantastic. And on my tours, I try to take you to as many civil rights sites and sites around this city of indigenous people, Civil War, civil rights history. And so today, as we walk through this history, I'm going to share not only the history of it, but why it's important to me and it should be important to us. And then we're going to talk about some statistics that makes it all make sense in tourism. And so with that being said, everybody, this is my company. Can you imagine at 64 years of age? I started a business instead of retiring. But I was glad to get my retirement and my Social Security. But I started this business and I am so in awe. And I'm living my best life, having conversations with all of you from around the world, sharing the beauty of this city and the history of it and telling the truth and having conversations. So with that, everybody, you know my name, right? What is my name? Wanda Battle, Wanda Howard Battle. I put my daddy's name back in there, Howard. I've been married 3 times. So just in case number 4 shows up. Okay, let's see, press forward. Okay, it's not going anywhere. Oh, okay. Well, with that being said, the title of this Lunch and Learn is The Tourism Renaissance of Montgomery. And what does Renaissance mean, somebody? Yeah, it means something just changing, something new's coming. And so as I have thought about Montgomery and been here for the last, since 1995, I see this city in a renaissance. And every one of us are in this city in strategic places helping this renaissance take place. And so I share with everybody that here in Montgomery, no matter what your gifts and abilities are, we're all working together as one unit. And so with that having been said, we're not competitors, we're all partners. And I like to keep saying that because it's so true. What I do, I couldn't do without you. I couldn't do the work in the way that I do it without you. And so with that having been said, here we are. This amazing city of Montgomery, Montgomery's tourism renaissance. So here we are, 2023. I want to kind of go back a little bit and take you back in history because you have to go back from where you've come and then come forward so that you can then give vision to where you're going. Well, with that having been said, will it go? Okay. This history of Montgomery is a united history, and it's a history of the indigenous people who inhabited the state of Alabama, the Civil War history, the civil rights history, all of many people who are coming into Montgomery for tourism. They're coming because they want to know the history of this city and of this state. And so what you see is my putting together a concept so that you can see this history together. And as I said, because I read books, I watch documentaries, I talk with people about the history. And you all, did you know that the Muskogee tribe, the Europeans call them what? Say it out loud. I heard somebody say it. They're called the Creeks, the Muskogee Creeks. Absolutely. And they inhabited a large portion of Alabama, but there was also the Chickasaws and the Choctaws. Later, the Cherokees came in, but as I put just this little map here, the Muskogee Creek Indians, we know them from Atmore, Alabama now, right? And have anybody ever been to the Thanksgiving powwow? No, not yet. You all, it's the most wonderful, colorful, festive event. Try it sometimes. Yeah, go down on Thanksgiving Day. And so this history of ours is all of our history. I know sometimes we try to dissect it all out and say, okay, this is Civil War history, this is civil rights, this is indigenous people. But all of that history is connected. And so with that having been said, that's who we are. We're all connected. Tourism, when you start talking about tourism, everybody, you're talking about people, and you're talking about relationships, and you're talking about partnerships, and you're talking about people who just want to have fun. That's me. When I'm not touring, I'm on the road traveling because I want to keep educating myself and embracing the cultures that I have come from. I'm Irish. I'm Japanese. I love corned beef and cabbage. I love a little sushi. And I can tell you, I do love a taco. I'm just saying that to say all of us and our cultures are connected. And so tourism is spurred, it's fueled by our love for food, to see new things, to learn new things. How many of you are historians and you like history? And who travels just because your husband or wife said, we going? I get quite a few of those on my tours too. So with that having been said, you all, as you all are looking at these pictures, you're looking at Mrs. Rosa Parks. Anybody know who this gentleman is?
Russell Lackey's uncle.
Say his name again.
Russell Lackey's uncle.
Okay, his name is, everybody say Drew Lackey. Would you all believe I paid over $100 for the last copy they said online to purchase his book because I wanted to find out what his thought was as he was booking Mrs. Parks. And in the book, he said it wasn't that he had any issues with Mrs. Rosa Parks. He said it was just that it was the law and she was breaking it. Okay, I like the quiet of that one. So I just wanted to share that, we've had many Confederate flags, about 3 of them. And go online and look them up because it's quite interesting. Stars and bars, and this one that you see here, and it gives you the dates. So I just want to say that with it all being our history, when the 9 were killed in Charleston and Governor Bentley took the Confederate flag from on top of the Capitol, do you all remember that? Yeah, there were those who protested for about a month or so, who marched around Jefferson Davis's statue. But I just want to say to all of us, in all of that history, of some of it is history that we agree with and some we don't, but it's still our history. And so when the Confederate flag came from on top of the Alabama State Capitol, then there was some commotion about that. And so with that, it's still ours. So let's go to our next slide. I wanted to take you, and I put some slides of our city in past years. You all, this was so cool. You've got to walk into Spring Hill Suites. They have got so many photographs of this city that are so cool. I couldn't take pictures of them all, but also the Museum of Archives and History, where we are, has them out online. So I want to show you what tracks looks like, because did you all know that Montgomery was the first city to have electric trolley cars? Yeah, just think, this little quiet town in the country. And so with that being said, I wanted you all to see what that looked like. And this is one of them. Some of you may recognize some of these buildings. Anybody recognize this? See, who? Yes, what are their names? The two brothers. Yeah, Wilbur and what's the other one? Orville Wright. And you all, well, I'll just come back to that a little later. But I just want you all to know, I found that so fascinating when I learned that Wilbur and Orville Wright started the first civil aviation flight school here. Okay, so we talked about it's all about relationships. You see how those hands are all connected to one another? That's us. So Ron Simmons is connected to me, and he knows it. For many years. He's been helping me along. Mr. Lee Sintel, yes. We're all connected. Ann Clements, y'all, these are my partners in crime. No, my partners in good trouble. Valerie Smetley, Tours of Montgomery. How many of you know everybody on this screen? Raise your hand if you know everyone that's on the screen. Okay, well, at the top is Ann Clemens. All of us are tour guides in this city, and we're masters, trying to be masters of more and more of the work that we do. Ann Clemens owns Triple E Group Services. Miss Valerie Smetley is the owner of the most wonderful gift store called Tours of Montgomery, and she takes you on tours of Centennial Hill. You've got Michelle Browder. How many of you have taken a tour with Michelle or know of her? Why is she most popular? What is this campus called, somebody? I am more than campus. And these three ladies are called the what? They're the mothers of gynecology. And we'll talk about that a little later too, the connection of that story. This gentleman, Mr. Jake Williams owns Montgomery Tours. If you want to go to Selma, if you want to go to Birmingham, yeah, he'll take you Tuskegee, wherever you'd like to go. And he always looks as wonderful as he looks on that picture. And up at the very top, call her name, somebody. Dr. Valda Harris Montgomery, whose mother and father, Dr. Richard and her mother, Vera Harris, owned Dean's Drugstore back in the day, as they say. And so all of them are my partners. They're my friends, and I'm very honored to just share them with you. The Alabama State Capitol. How many of you have taken the tour? Very good. How many of you know Mr. Orroin Irby? I think he's retired. How many of you know Tim Lennox? He's more recent guy out there. Raise your hand if you know who he is. He used to be on channel WSFA. Yes, and he's a brilliant man and has this wonderful voice. So this is our Alabama State Capitol. The first Capitol burned in 1849, and so they built this Capitol. It was completed in 1851. It is where Jefferson Davis stood in the portico. I think this is the little pointer right here in the portico and delivered his inaugural address. Anybody know what month, day, or year? There we go. That's my friend Paul. Everybody in the house, February 18th, 1861. Yes. And with that, this is our capital. Who's our latest governor? Who's our governor there? Yes, Governor Kay Ivey is indeed. You all, I want you to know this is one of my partners that I absolutely love and treasure him for his wisdom, for his knowledge of history. I think Dr. Richard Bailey, you all, has a photographic memory. He remembers names, dates, and events far back. And whenever you're in his presence, you're going to learn something. Yes. So I want you to know that it was Dr. Richard Bailey who worked to have the portrait of Horace King, who designed the stairwell in the Alabama State Capitol. He is the one who donated the portrait that hangs in the Capitol. And as you can see the steps now, Horace King was a bridge builder. But he designed these steps that are in the Capitol. And so Dr. Bailey felt it was very important as an African American to have his portrait in the Alabama State Capitol. So we honor Dr. Bailey. I love him so very much, and he's one of my mentors. This picture, I kind of waited to show this one when I was showing the Mothers of Gynecology before. Do you know who this doctor is? Yes, Dr. James Marion Sims. And the reason why I put them together, Dr. Sims came to Montgomery in 1840, and until 1853, he did procedures of different types. But one of them was for a situation called fistula, which women would experience as a result of childbirth. And it was very painful and odorous. And so slave owners would send their slave girls who were having this issue to Dr. Sims for help. However, we do know the story. He used no anesthesia, right? No anesthesia with no consent. And so these three girls, Anarcha, Betsy, and Lucy, say their names, somebody. Everybody, say their names. Anarcha. This is Anarcha. She's 15 feet high. This is Betsy. And this is Lucy. They were actual slave girls. He did procedures on several of them, but these were the three whose names were known. And so I want to recommend to you all to go out to Tubi and watch Remembering Anarcha. The filmmaker is local, Josh Carpel. Some of you may know him well, but that documentary is absolutely outstanding, and it helped me to understand a bit more of the mindset of Dr. Sims. I didn't give him a total pass, but it helped me to understand gynecology had not been developed as a profession at that time, so he's pioneering. And he eventually becomes the inventor of anesthesia, believe it or not. So whenever you have time, go on Tubi, T-U-B-I, and watch Remembering Anarcha. We thank Michelle Browder for bringing this story to light and to life for all of us so that we now know the whole story. With that being said, go back. I think some of you may have gone up on the Capitol grounds. This is John Patterson, who was governor of the state of Alabama. Do you all remember he ran against George Wallace, 1958? And he lost that election because John Patterson was the one who ran on a segregation platform. And when Wallace lost that election, he said, "I will never be out N-word again." And so when he ran in 1962, he ran on a segregation platform, and I'd never heard of John Patterson, but I'd certainly heard of George Wallace in that regard. And so I just wanted to share that they have his John Patterson statue here on the Capitol grounds, and the moon tree that's there. Has anybody gone up to see the moon tree on the grounds? It's to the left. If you walk up the steps of the Capitol and walk to the left of Jefferson Davis, you'll see this marker at the base of one of the trees. And it says, "It's a loblolly pine crown from seed that journeyed to the moon with 1971 Apollo 14 mission." Planted in 1976. Lots of history in this town. And this is inside of the Capitol. It says, "In this hall, the ordinance of secession, which withdrew Alabama from the Union of Sovereign States, was passed January 11th, 1861. Okay, and to commemorate this event, the Ladies Memorial Association place this plaque so that we will not only forget, but that we'll know about it. And I was challenged in 2019. I was tour director at Dexter Church at the time, and I was a part of the bicentennial for the city and state. And during that process, there were 16 markers placed in Bicentennial Park. Raise your hand if you have walked and looked at each of those markers. Okay, I'm very impressed. Well, the others of you, you must go and walk through and study them. The history that they share covers the indigenous history of our state, slavery, and the Civil War. And there are 16 of them. And as you can see, the artwork of this is just immaculate. So I encourage you to go on, and it's called Bicentennial Park. There are 8 on one side of the street and 8 on the other side. Well, I guess everybody have been here, huh? Raise your hand, let's see. This city is so amazing, you all. They host festivals and all type of events to bring the community together. And then we just like to go and sit or ride or go take the Harriet Two riverboat or go to the festivals at the amphitheater. We love the riverfront, don't we? Yes. And so this is the entrance to the riverfront, and it's the tunnel that back in before slavery was abolished, the steamboats and riverboats were bringing the enslaved and cotton in on those boats and bringing them up through this tunnel to be bought and sold at what we now call Court Square Fountain. But at that time, it was the auction block. Well, here we are. You can tell this was a day when a lot was going on, wasn't it? Yes, and so the Harriet Two is all dressed out, and a lot of people are here. And so that's our city continues to plan events that will make it engaging and fun to come down to the riverfront. How many of you ridden the Harriet Two riverboat? If you haven't, make sure next spring that you get on board because it's a lot of fun. Do you remember that day? We've had days like that, though. Yeah, a lot of festivals and music festivals especially. Who knows what this is? I know Ron Simmons does. Yes, the Montgomery Whitewater Park. And you all, what an amazing project this is here in this city. I see that they are still working to bring new entities to this park. And I absolutely love, is it Eddie's Restaurant? If you haven't had lunch at Eddie's, you all, or dinner, treat yourself. It's not a long menu, but what's on there is delicious. And so I encourage you to go out, just go out with friends to just relax and enjoy an evening out. It's amazing. How many know where this is? What street is this on, somebody? All right, are those who grew up on the west side? This is indeed the west side of Montgomery on Oak Street, and here on the end is King's Canvas that is owned by Kevin King, who is a master artist in this city. And we love what he is doing in bringing all of our young budding artists into the city and giving their art a place. And so he's just either completed or will be soon completing the gallery. It's completed. I've got to go over soon. So you all, I want to invite you all to visit this West Side Gallery, King's Canvas. And if you haven't met Kevin King, he's just an amazing human being and a brilliant artist. Well, now we're going to get to some numbers here. And I sought after the Alabama Department of Tourism, Mr. Lee Sintel's office, as well as the Montgomery Area Chamber of Commerce, to get information, to share these numbers with you all. So what you're seeing up here is not because I am a mathematician, but I think you would be very interested in knowing these numbers. So Central Alabama, which is where Montgomery is, did you all see those figures up there? Now see, there are 3 commas. So that's $5 billion. And as you all are looking, okay, so Gulf area, 9 billion. Southern portion of the state, 3 billion. Northern section is 4 billion. That's a lot of money. That totals what? $23 billion plus. This is tourism, everybody. A lot of money is made in us welcoming these visitors from around the world. And all of the hotels and restaurants, whenever I'm engaging, and especially with those who work front desk, I tell them, bring your A game every day. We're welcoming people from around the world, and from the moment they get here until they leave, we want them to have an amazing time so that when they leave Montgomery, they're gonna say, wow, that's a great city. It's not that city I read about. So you all keep bringing the A games, whatever you're doing in this city, and these numbers are reflecting it. Okay, let me step down here so I can see this a little better. So this was from the Alabama Tourism Department's numbers. So in 2023, you see it was estimated that more than 28.8 million visitors came here to Montgomery as their travel destination. Isn't that amazing? Ron, that tells me you are a very busy man. I know that's right, that's how it works. And so these are the counties, the cities that are the busiest: Jefferson, Madison, Mobile, and Montgomery counties attract the largest numbers. And then they say specifically 71.7% of the travelers choose these counties as their destination. That's a high number, everybody. That means that we've got something they want to see, hear, and do, and eat. So with that, you see that number again, $23.5 billion in 2023. Yes. And so I broke out Montgomery because they had all of the counties. So I just kind of broke out so you all could see how this city is growing. So direct travel related employment, it affects the employment numbers. 2021, 8,000 plus. 2022, 8,700 plus. And then 2023, it increased to 9,300 plus. A 6.3% increase. Counties with largest total employment growth in 2023. Okay, Montgomery entered at 11,000 plus. 2022, 13,000 plus. And 2023, 13,500 plus. A 4.4% increase. Total direct and indirect travel related employment by county, 889, and that's million. Then 2022, 1 million. That's 3 commas, isn't it? Thank you for saying those commas, billions. So we've got, so in 2022, we had a great increase. So you can see that, right? And then another increase in 2023. So that was a 9.1 increase. You all, these numbers are amazing. On December 12th, this is the Chamber of Commerce. This was reported from their annual meeting that was held in December last year. 1.6 million yearly visitors. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of hotel nights, a lot of eating in restaurants, a lot of visiting attractions. That's a lot going on here. $1.1 billion spent in Montgomery County by visitors annually. That's a lot of money. The Department of the Air Force, I thought this was very important. The Department of the Air Force Information Technology and Cyber Conference returned with 5,000 registrants, totaling more than 6,000 room nights and 7 million economic impact, bringing global Air Force and tech leaders to Montgomery. You are the military. Maxwell Air Force Base engenders a lot of money for this city. And so between tourism and the Air Force Base, Maxwell Air Force Base, that's our economic base here. And we are happy to have them here. As most of you know, Maxwell Air Force Base is the academic university arm of the military. And so we have visitors who are soldiers coming from around the world here to Maxwell. You all give them love and appreciation whenever you see our soldiers. Yeah, they're making a difference in our town. All right, these were just some websites that I just put up here because you may want to go and read all of these numbers for yourselves. And outside, I placed, had brochures, the magazines that are put out by the chamber, by the Alabama Tourism Department, and please take one with you if you'd like to, because there's something to do all of the time. Well, I'm turning now to places to go and see. And you all, it's so many places, I couldn't make enough slides for everyone, so don't feel put out if you're in here and you're not up here. Okay, the Legacy Museum. And see, I like that picture because I like little blinged out hats. Yes, that's Italy on there. That's how they spell it. Who is this gentleman? Attorney Brian Stevenson. You all, his work is just amazing. And his vision is just incredible. And because of his vision and his commitment to tell the story of lynchings and mass incarceration in this country, you all, he's so much is just coming up all around the city. Even things I don't even know about are coming up. But I placed his picture here so that you could see his handsome, kind, wonderful, fun face. And I placed a picture of what the hotel is going to look like. And he calls it says, we're excited to announce the new Elevation Convening Center is what that's called, and hotel. Everybody say Elevation Convening Center and hotel. And it's out on their website. So I want you all to go out there and read all of what's going to be a part of this hotel and convening center. It is amazing. That 5 Points area, oh, give us a few more years. That area will not look like it looks right now, okay? It's already being transformed. Well, how many of you have read his book and have seen the movie? Just Mercy. If you haven't, go out to see it and pick up a copy of the book. They have 3 sites now. The first that was open was the Legacy Museum. And that was on the previous slide, but this is their office at 122 Commerce Street. That's where their office is located. And then they have the National Memorial for Peace and Justice that is here. How many of you visited there already? Okay, very good. And how many have visited the Freedom Monument Sculpture Park? Okay, so we got a little sightseeing to do. You know, they say we don't normally go unless family comes in town or friends. Okay, just go, okay? It's $5 to visit all 3. Is that not a deal? And with that, they have the riverboat shuttle that takes you from near the Whitewater Park. They have a separate entrance, however. And it takes you over to the Freedom Monument Sculpture Park. And it's a nice little ride, relaxing. So I wanted to just share that with you. Okay, some of our other sites, Old Alabama Town. You all, I love Old Alabama Town. Now, I'll be honest with you. See, I was doing civil rights tours when I first started. So I can't tell you I was as interested in Old Alabama Town. And I won't go any further than that. But you all, I did a tour. I think Ann Clemens and Jake and I, each of us had a bus load of children. We went to old Alabama town. You all, I had more fun than the kids. Old Alabama town is awesome. Raise your hand if you've already visited. Okay, if you haven't, plan to go. Yeah, it's our history. Okay, this is on the west side of town and was. This is the historic, meaning the older, the first of Mount Zion AME Zion Church. I take my visitors there. I take my tourists to the west side because I want you to know about the city of St. Jude, Holt Street Baptist Church, Rosa Parks' apartment, Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church, which is now called the United Evangelical Lutheran Church, and Mount Zion. I want you to see the west side of Montgomery and to go by King's Canvas on Oak Street. And Barbara Gale's, the best breakfast and dinner at breakfast time. You can get dinner at breakfast at Barbara Gale's. So a lot of people do go right over there of our tourists to purchase breakfast. So that's on Oak Street as well, across from King's Canvas. First CME Church. Now, I was surprised really kind of to find this picture First CME because once buildings are torn down, you really forget what they looked like. And this was on South Holt Street as well. So I just wanted to share this history. And I want to say to all of you all, I don't have a slide of Holt Street Baptist Church inside. Please take that tour. It's a pictorial tour to let you see what the west side of Montgomery looked like before urban renewal came through. And the pictures show you the Black churches where mass meetings were held. And it's just a wonderful tour. So I want to encourage you all, come tour with me. Oh, where is this? Anybody who have not been here? Can you all guess who lived here? Yes, Mrs. Rosa Macaulay Parks lived here from 1951 to 1957. They have now changed the name to Parks Place. Viola, what was the name when we were growing up of these apartments? Cleveland Court Apartments. Yeah. And so now, they are now Parks Place. This apartment right here is number 634. That is Mrs. Parks' apartment. And see that marker? It's right to the left of the door. It's a 2-bedroom apartment. And it is left in the decor that it was when she left in 1957. And so tours are taken inside as well. Just let me know, Mrs. Felicia Martin is the communications director for Montgomery Housing Authority. And so she allowed entrance as we make appointments to come in. But it is so worth seeing inside of this modest apartment where Mrs. Parks' husband and her mother, Mrs. Leona Macaulay, lived there until they left to move to Detroit. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Who was at the table that came up with that name for our baseball team? Are you in this room? I love it. You all, I love going to raise your hand if you've been to the Biscuits game. I love going to the Biscuits game. Okay. They're our minor league team for the Tampa Bay Rays. Are they still the minor? Yay! Thank you. How many of you are baseball fans anyway? Okay, that's a few less. Okay. You all are like me. I don't necessarily go for the game, but I appreciate when they win. But I love the food and I love running my mouth. Can you tell that? It's great. And to come up with the name, the Biscuits, that's a good marketing tool. Do you know they throw hot butter biscuits out at the game? Has anybody ever caught one in this room? One person. Okay, that's good. We got to work on that. But I love the name. It's grown on me. And so I thank God. Go out to the Biscuits game from time to time in the change of the seasons. You'll have fun. The Montgomery Zoo, how many of you visited the zoo this past year? Okay, I have committed I'm going to the zoo during this Christmas holiday. Okay, that means I'll have to go in 3 days. You all, the Montgomery Zoo is a lot of fun. It's not just for children. It's for all of us. Yeah. So plan to go visit the zoo. They have Zoobilation or something, a festival of lights during the holidays up until December 31st. Who's this man? Hey, good looking. What you got cooking? How's about cooking something up with me? You all, back in the day, we didn't have black TV. So we watched Hee-Haw and Sing Along with Mitch and the Lawrence Welk Show. So I know I like Hank Williams, okay? He's cool. And Jeff and Beth Patty own Hank Williams Museum. How many of you have gone inside of the museum? Is that not the coolest museum? I think they own everything Hank owned. I say, I don't know what's in Georgiana. But I'm just so honored that Hank Williams is honored here, and he's buried in Oakwood Cemetery. And some of my tours enjoy going over, and we go over, and you can tell he had money. It's elaborate, and we sing his songs. Your cheating heart. Okay, that's enough. Let's go to the next one. Oh, where's this photograph? The Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts. How many have gone and fed the ducks with your children? Not as many. Oh, that's not popular to do anymore, huh? You don't wear it with the geese. Oh, okay, those are geese, not ducks. Oh, thank you, Arnie. Okay, those. But I love it. I want us to begin to go out there to the art exhibits. I'm going to plan for one of my organizations to go out to tour next year. That is a wonderful museum. Yeah, it's one. The grounds are beautiful, and they've expanded even outside, an outdoor portion to the museum. So plan to go. And one of my other favorite places, how many of you have been to the Alabama Shakespeare Festival? Okay, that's a few. You got to go and support these plays. We want to keep this New York style productions here in Montgomery. And they have wonderful productions at the Alabama Shakespeare Festival. So go online and check it out. And once again, pick up the books outside. This is an event that's coming up. I couldn't seem to get all of them that were out online of events that'll be coming up very soon. But this one I decided to put up, the family game night. We all love games, right? Okay, that was poorly responded. So much for families over for the holidays. But this is going to be from 6 to 8 on December 20th, meaning it is when? Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. Okay, so with that, saying Merry Christmas to everybody. Now, because I like trivia. How many of you love trivia? I do. I want to just see how much you all, some of you know about Montgomery history. Okay, don't fight to give the answers, okay? This first one says, and it's titled, Who Am I? I am now the Troy University Davis Theater. In 1955, what was my name? Yes, who said it? Yes, say it out loud. How many of you remember when it was the Paramount Movie Theater? Okay, and I'm going to ask this one. And what theater was across the street from it in 1955? The Empire. How many of you remember the Empire Movie Theater? They were both white movie theaters. Oh. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you all enjoyed it. Y'all, I'm a mess every day of the week. Okay, next question. We opened the first civilian aviation school in Montgomery. Who are we? What are their names? Orville and Wilbur Wright. Absolutely. And once they sold that property, who did they sell it to? Thank you very much. Everybody say Maxwell Air Force Base. Okay, this may be a little tough. My name is John H. Murphy. What Montgomery utility service purchased my home? Yes, who said? That's my friend. He's another historian. Y'all, that's Joe David. Trumbull is in the house. This video is going to be interesting. Okay, so it was the Montgomery Waterworks. Listen to this. In 1902, the Elks Social Club bought the house and maintained it until 1967. However, it went bankrupt and was foreclosed. In 1970, the Montgomery Waterworks and Sanitation Sewer Board purchased the house and restored it for their offices. So it is the Montgomery Waterworks and Sanitation Board. Okay, next, I founded the city of I founded the city of St. Jude. Who am I? Yes, you said that, Arnie. Go. It is indeed Father Harold Purcell, everybody. In 1934, Father Harold Purcell founded the city of St. Jude to offer benevolent services to the African American community on the west side of Montgomery. There was an educational institute. I went to school there. There is the Catholic Church. I went to Mass there, and then to the Black Methodist Church. And then the hospital, St. Jude Hospital, where I was born and most of my siblings. How many of you were born in the hospital of the city of St. Jude? Anybody else? All right, Vivian Elaine Handy. Well, I want you all to know that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Mrs. Coretta Scott King's two oldest children, Yolanda and Martin III, were born at the city of St. Jude Hospital. Yeah. Does the name, in fact, I'll make this a question. What's the name of the white woman who came to Montgomery in 1965 to assist during the Selma to Montgomery March and was shot in the head on Highway 80, marker 111? What's her name? Say it out loud. Say it out loud. Viola Liuzzo. Everybody say her name, Viola Liuzzo. Viola Liuzzo was taken from Highway 80 to St. Jude Hospital, where she died there. So there's a marker on the grounds at St. Jude Hospital, okay? Just wanted you all to know that. Okay, here we go. My 1955 bus arrest records were expunged on December 16th, 2021. After 67 years on permanent probation. Who am I? Claudette Colvin, everybody. Absolutely, Claudette Colvin. All right. And this one is a little, and this is the last one. What city in Alabama was its fifth capital? That's like, what color is the blue sky? Okay, Montgomery. Can anybody name at least two of the previous capitals? Tuscaloosa, and what's another one? Cahaba. The other ones are St. Stephen's Territory and with an H, Huntsville. Yay, you all are a smart group. Thank you, everybody. Did you all enjoy that trivia, and did you learn something? Yes. Now, what's the name of my company? Everybody, I want to say thank you for, do we have any time left? Good.
So you just got asked some questions. Do you have questions you want to ask Ms. Wanda? Anyone have a question? You have trivia for her? Are there any questions? Oh, yes.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Maureen Thompson. I am the historian for the Central Alabama Veterans Healthcare System. And I'm wondering if you would consider branching out to Tuskegee, because there's so much history there. And also there is a moon tree planted at Veterans Hospital, FYI.
And that's Lori Thompson?
Maureen.
Maureen Thompson. Do you know, I didn't know there was a moon tree in Tuskegee. And yes, I do tours in Tuskegee as well. That would be fantastic. How many of you have taken a tour in Tuskegee? How many of you have been to the Tuskegee Airmen's hangar there, the field? What is the field called? Moulton Field. Absolutely. What were the Tuskegee Airmen's fleet of planes called? The Red Tails, yes. And who is an Alabamian, a Montgomeryan, who lives on South Jackson Street, who was a Tuskegee Airman? On South Jackson Street. Lived on South Jackson. He was a Tuskegee Airman.
And he's still living?
No, he's deceased. Everybody say Dr. Richard Harris. Dr. Valda Harris Montgomery's father was a Tuskegee Airman. Yes, see, we learn something all the time. I learn from you all too. Yes, any other question? And we're coming to Tuskegee. I would love to connect with you. Yes.
Blake Busman, I'm the social studies coordinator at the State Department. We have so many outside of the state student groups coming into Montgomery, coming into Birmingham on tours, civil rights tours. What is something you feel that these student groups need to know before they come to Alabama to make them have a better experience?
First of all, I want to say, please tell them that all history is our history. And then with that, I would say prepare them to come to see the various sites, not just certain identified, because and I'm being honest with you, most of the children that come from North and South Alabama, they come to the archives here, they do the Alabama State Capitol, they tour Old Alabama Town. But in terms of the African American history, the majority of them are not doing that history. So I would say venture out a little bit, make it connect. Yeah, show them how all of this history is our history.
May I make an observation?
Yes, indeed.
When you showed the EJI building right there on Commerce Street, before I moved back here 6 years ago, was a state legislator friend of mine who sent that picture to me in Washington, D.C. to show me that was the building, the EJI office building, used to be the holding place that housed slaves, enslaved people, the night before they were being auctioned off at the fountain. They would bring them from the river to that building. And that's the building that Byron Stevenson got to be the EJI headquarters.
And let me tell you how to connect that history. John H. Murphy, who owned and built the Murphy House, which became the Montgomery Water Works and Sanitation Board, that was his slave warehouse. And so Brian Stevenson now owns his slave warehouse. Where the Legacy Museum is, the 44,000 square foot facility, that was the Lehman brothers, the Lehman family. New York investors, that was their slave warehouse. When you visit the Legacy Museum, you'll see it on the wall there. It tells that history. Where the Klein and Son building is located, at Court Square Fountain, that beige building with the clock. Yeah, that is not the building that was there during slavery, but the Lehman Brothers brokerage firm was there. They were brokering slaves, the sale of slaves, buying and selling, and of cotton. Okay, you learned something else?
What's a moon tree?
That's a good, who is a horticulturist in here? What's a moon tree?
So there were seeds that were sent on the Apollo 1 and the Apollo missions, and they were brought out to space, and when they were brought back, they were distributed to different institutions. So the seed was actually brought into outer space and then brought back.
And they named it the moon tree, not because it was the type of seed. It was just because it had gone to space. Gone to the moon.
So, yeah, so they were brought the missions to the moon, but the one that was at the Capitol, or the one that is at the Capitol, that's a loblolly pine, so just a good look.
So they're all pine trees?
I don't know if they all are, because I believe that there was a variety of seeds, different types related to different, parts of the country and everything, trying to get local species kind of up there, but for us at least it was fine.
Maureen, may I ask you that the moon tree that's in Tuskegee? Oh, I was want to ask, was it the same type of tree? Okay, it is a loblolly. Okay, anyone else? Yes, we are going to sing. Okay, let's see. What's an easy one? For Christmas songs, since we're in the holiday. We opened with Jingle Bells. We want to do We Wish You a Merry Christmas? I love it. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Glad tidings we bring to you and your kin. Glad tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. Now you sing.
We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
That was beautiful. I think you can take that on the road. Everybody, I want to say thank you to every one of you. Merry Christmas to you. Keep learning and educating yourself on history. All history is ours. And as you can see with the numbers today, a lot of people want to see and know this history. So keep bringing your A game every day as we welcome them into this amazing city. Thank you, Ron Simmons, for all that you do. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all for joining us, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year. And I can't wait to see you all again here in January. Thank y'all.